Evolution is speeding up. It took 2 billion years for life to emerge on Earth. Another 6 million years before the first hominids came around. Modern humans, they came 100,000 years ago. We went from hunter-gatherers to agriculture in 10,000 years. The scientific revolution came 400 years back. The Industrial Revolution just 150 years. Evolution of life as we studied it in schools has 3 threads. There's biological, our physical bodies and how we've adapted to our surroundings. Anthropological, the building of communities, cities and civilizations. And cultural, our creativity, our art, our thoughts, our voice. In the modern era, evolution is not biological anymore, it's about information. Digital information, which is artificial intelligence, analog, which is genetic engineering and biotechnology, and connecting both neurobiology, the science of the brain. Artificial intelligence is based on neural networks. These don't grow in a linear fashion. Intelligence compounds intelligence, ability piles on ability, and when that happens, the speed changes. Again. Until what? That is where we stand now, on the brink of something entirely new. A change that will not just appear in our lifetimes, but fully unfold within a single generation.
Hello and welcome to Tech It Out. I'm Nikita Singh. Now it's been 3 years since we survived the pandemic, emerged from lockdown and stumbled into the age of artificial intelligence. Looking back, that period of social isolation almost feels scripted. A time in which we were forced to stop, think and recalibrate our lives. To prepare us for what was coming, artificial intelligence. It's been around for a long time, but AI's impact has increased exponentially over the last few years. Today's episode is not about AI taking control and wiping out the human race. It's about the future of work, about how AI is redefining the nature of jobs, recalibrating traditional education, amplifying creativity in music, and reshaping the narratives of film.
It's difficult to see the picture when you're inside the frame. The 2020s will always be remembered as the definitive decade in the evolution of our species on the planet.
We're a wonderful, incredibly complicated machine, but we're just a big neural net. And there's no reason why an artificial neural net shouldn't be able to do everything we can do.
And here we are for the first time, really in human history, with something that's going to be far more intelligent than us.
This is really one of the first major times in history a new computing model has been developed and created.
A time in which artificial intelligence began taking giant strides towards acquiring human-like cognition. And we made it happen by training AI on data and knowledge that humanity has acquired over millennia. The humanoid is already here, and it is doing what we thought it would: take away the mundane and the repetitive. Amazon is reportedly investing $25 billion to put 1 million robots into its workforce by 2030. Assembly lines, warehouses, forklifts, precision and fatigue-free. Makes sense. But robots aren't very good at roles that involve coordination, context, and judgment in the world at large.
So the jobs that are going to survive AI for a long time are jobs where you have to be very adaptable and physically skilled, and plumbing's that kind of a job.
A carpenter, a bus driver, or a hospital worker. These jobs aren't likely to be replaced by robots or AI anytime soon. White-collar jobs are a different matter. A desk job that involves reading data and synthesizing it into a report, AI excels at that. In just the first 7 months of 2025, over 800,000 jobs have been lost in the US alone. The tech industry has been hit the hardest. AI has been cited as a key reason in everything from tech layoffs to legal restructuring to publishing shakeups. Now, Sanjay Verma has seen the entire curve, from being one of the earliest employees of Alibaba to founding Kaleido, an AI-driven platform for networking and recruitment.
Gen AI today is going to, and it is right now, destroying white-collar jobs. Whether it's accounting, whether it's consulting, investment banking, it's just decimating the first, second, even third ladder, right? And so the question is, what do we do about this? You have companies that are now talking about productivity and not talking about hiring as much. Entrepreneurship is the only answer. I mean, it's entrepreneurship. When I say entrepreneurship, it's got to be entrepreneurship with combination of AI. I mean, I think everybody in India, right, man, woman, they start from childhood, they should understand how to really have AI be the best friend.
But let's be specific. Entry-level jobs across the board are in the firing line. Sectors like finance, HR, legal, marketing, and quality assurance. Customer service, chatbots have taken over. Paralegals, AI can scan case law faster, cheaper, and more reliably. Junior coders, GitHub Copilot can write scaffolding code in seconds. Marketing teams, text to image generators can output ad campaigns within hours.
Now, in a world where technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate, it seems no job is safe from automation. ChatGPT is the best example. The AI tool is threatening to replace a wide range of professionals, graphics designers, cashiers, proofreaders, and even social media managers.
Haim Saroya is a well-known newscaster at WION.
I genuinely believe AI can be used and leveraged. You need to embrace it. It can make you smarter. It can take care of a lot of quotidian tasks so that the anchors and the people in the newsroom can actually focus on sorting through data, doing the real work, which is asking tough questions. That is, I think, the impact of AI. It's inescapable, but I believe we need to embrace it.
The reality is, some jobs will disappear, others will change. We will all need to adapt. On the flip side, AI has also democratized opportunity, shifting power from corporations to individuals.
Today, you can open a company, start your own app, build your own app, build your website at basically no charge. And so the value is going to go to those who are creative. The economic value is going to go to those who work hard. But the barriers to entry have gone low. But if you're going to wait for that job, I can tell you the new generation out here, they're saying, well, okay, I'm getting a degree. I can go work for a big consulting firm. I know that as they really, bring in more productivity tools, the first people are going to let go of me, right? So should I be doing that, or should I really get my hands dirty and become an entrepreneur? And so I think being an entrepreneur and being agile, using AI tools is a way to go.
So what does the future of work look like? It's agile, it's creative, it's entrepreneurial.
We've gone from a world where it was news when a machine beat a man, like when Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov in 1997.
Recently, a coder beat a custom ChatGPT AI model in a marathon coding session, and that made news. But it's clear that he's an outlier. Collaboration, not competition with AI, are the key words. Are we prepared for this radical shift? The answer might lie in education. For generations, education has followed a linear path. Standardized curricula, rote learning, predefined career tracks. AI is disrupting this system, pushing education towards personalized, skill-based learning.
I am jealous of people that are starting their, 5-year-olds or whatever. I don't know how old in Japan you start primary school, but whoever's starting right now, I am jealous of all of them because they're going to make such incredible progress with this new tool, and education is going to push them to such higher levels. All of us too, we're all going to embrace it as well. But I think it's going to be a huge step forward for education, although education will have to evolve with it.
This story would be incomplete if we didn't acknowledge and take responsibility for where we stand today. We could have, and perhaps should have, taken it slow when it came to AI. Geoffrey Hinton certainly thinks so. So does his fellow Nobel laureate, John Scofield.
As a physicist, I'm very unnerved by something which has no control, something which I don't understand well enough so that I can understand what are the limits to which one could drive that technology.
If they get to be smarter than us, which seems quite likely, and they have goals of their own, which seems quite likely, they may well develop the goal of taking control. And if they do that, we're in trouble.
Every pause in AI's development has been met with a shrug, followed by a sprint. No country wants to be left behind, no company wants to lose market share, so we've marched forward not out of curiosity or courage, but insecurity. Is intelligence, whether human or artificial, enough?
Du kennst diese Gesichter mit diesen Stimmen. Aber du kennst nicht die Gesichter hinter den Stimmen.
Ich bin SpongeBob mit all seinen Emotionen.
Echten.
Keine künstlichen.
Wir alle sollen bald eine Computerstimme bekommen.
Und dann müsst ihr euch Filme ansehen.
Mit künstlichen Stimmen von Robotern.
Und diese Roboter wurden mit unseren Stimmen trainiert.
Ohne unsere Zustimmung. Auf illegale Weise.
Illegal.
Illegal.
It all started with Edward Muybridge's The Horse in Motion in 1878. A black and white 2-second documentary that fundamentally changed our perception of storytelling. It was in this moment that cinema was born. Since then, the filmmaking industry has undergone a relentless evolution. Sound, color, special effects, 3D motion. They all added vibrancy and emotional depth to every frame. And now, the next great disruption is upon us: artificial intelligence. A force that is actively rewriting the very rules of filmmaking. The title of a Clint Eastwood starrer from 1966, "The Good, the Bad and the Ugly" may be the only sentence that can perfectly capture the multifaceted impact AI has had on the entertainment industry.
Artificial general intelligence is a giant question mark about whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, and I think we should definitely pump the brakes on that. In terms of generative AI, that can create images from scratch, I think that's really interesting because the data that they scrape from is all the imagery that human beings have ever created, right? And so in a way, it's what we project out into the world, kind of solipsistically. We're putting our subconscious mind and our aesthetics out into the world, and it's coming back to us through these generative AI images, and that's why they're so compelling.
What was once the subject of picket lines and protests during the 2023 Hollywood strikes is now being embraced as a tool that could potentially revolutionize cinema. At this year's Academy Awards, films like Emilia Perez and The Brutalist made waves by incorporating AI to tweak voices and refine performances, blurring the line between human creativity and machine intelligence.
What I'm getting at is that I don't think we should let the technology scare us. I think you don't become a slave to technology. Let us control the technology and put it in the right direction. The right direction being from the individual voice rather than, again, something which is just consumed and tossed away.
However, not everyone is so optimistic about the use of AI. With AI models such as OpenAI's Sora and Google's Veo, a new fear is gripping the film industry. These programs can create entire scenes from simple text prompts, potentially displacing directors, cinematographers, animators, and lighting artists.
It's a strange feeling. If it ever had, you can talk about it, but when you see it happen to you, it's quite disturbing. Somebody to take me and my idea and style and go, okay, AI is going to create what AI thinks Tim Burton Disney characters would look like. And like I said, some of them were quite good, but very disturbing for me.
This growing threat of a machine taking over creative roles has led to widespread fear of losing not just jobs, but also professional identity.
How do you expect stories without writers? How do you expect films without directors, without cinematographers? There are so many other fields in the film industry. It's also, AI is a double-edged sword, but pen is always mightier than the sword. And I don't think storytellers, are going away anytime soon.
Last month in July, Mexican voice actors and professionals from the creative industry took to the streets to demonstrate against AI. Their demand: to regulate the use of artificial intelligence technology.
Queremos una regulación para que
We want a regulation so that dubbing can be done as much as possible by people, by human beings, since we are the ones who can transmit emotions.
somos los que pueden transmitir emociones, ¿no?
The Indian film industry too is dealing with AI-related controversies. On the 1st of August, a 2013 hit film Ranchana starring Sonam Kapoor Ahuja and Dhanush got re-released. In the original movie, Dhanush's character dies. But in a new AI-edited climax, the character wakes up from his deathbed. This AI-edited ending has not gone down well with many, including the lead actor. The actor posted a tweet saying, "This is not the film I committed to 12 years ago. The use of AI to alter films or content is a deeply concerning precedent for both art and artists."
Kundan being alive in the film really takes away, the tragic ending that the film had, and something that stayed with viewers even after, it's been more than 10 years since the film released and the ending stayed with them. So I think it takes away from that experience, it takes away from the story. Legally, the production house has all the rights, so they can possibly do it. But how do you redefine someone's creative expression, and how do you take the story away from a storyteller without their consent? I think there are many, many aspects of it that need to be taken care of.
The debate over AI's place in cinema is a hot topic. In 2023, during what was the longest strike in Hollywood in 3 decades, the Writers Guild of America negotiated a new contract with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, or AMPTP. The contract explicitly states that AI cannot be considered a writer or be credited with literary material. Studios must inform a writer if any material provided to them was AI generated. It also mandates that companies have to disclose if they've used AI generated content. It also prohibits studios from forcing writers to use AI. Although revolutionary, this deal expires next year in May. Given the rapid advancements in AI technology, the question remains, will AI become a collaborative partner, or will it eventually replace human writers?
In 2023, the world watched as a new Beatles song Now and Then made history. A track started decades ago by John Lennon was finished with the help of AI. The result? A Grammy win for Best Rock Performance. But the headlines do not stop there. Recently, a band called Velvet Sundown went viral on Spotify, amassing millions of streams. Listeners, however, had no idea that the band's dreamy vocals were the product of code and not humans. These are not just one-off stories. This just might be the start of a new musical revolution.
I won't be surprised if music is made only by AI in the future, a far-off future, but still.
AI is changing how music is made. It's a game changer for independent artists and aspiring musicians.
If today we are able to make a song and we are able to imagine like what Kishore Kumar would be able to add in it, and we have the technology to replicate it, I find it very cool personally, and I'm a fan of this new technology because it just opens a new gate for all the creative things that you could do with it.
There are many AI platforms out there that can generate instrumental tracks, compose melodies, and even provide lyrics based on a simple text prompt.
I think musicians need to embrace AI as a tool in music making, simply because if you do not, then you're going to be left behind. And I believe that AI can be used as a beautiful tool. I use AI all the time because when I make a composition, instead of going ahead and recording a 100-piece orchestra and spending all of that money and realizing that it's not going to work, I like to do mock-ups on AI to see how it would probably sound and then make my decisions based on that.
As with any technology, there's a flip side. For a lot of these AI models, the creative palette is, well, a little English. The vast majority of AI music generators are trained on massive Western music data sets. They're able to understand the patterns of pop, rock, and hip-hop. But when it comes to regional music, AI still got a lot to catch up on.
All these companies who are making these products are in the US. So they are made in a way to cater to the language that they speak, the accent that they use, the kind of voices and music being heard there. I was recording this Marathi track recently, So there are some words in letters in Marathi which are not even in Hindi. So R and all those. So some of the AI models are not able to pick that up because they don't have this in their language only. So they are not trained to use this.
But if AI is creating the music, the question is, who owns the music? This is a legal minefield the industry is desperately trying to navigate.
So right now, because it is at a very initial stage, there are not laws that can completely define that this is wrong, this much you can use, this much you can't use. So right now it is in that gray area. But I think eventually, as people start using it, after a point, there will be flaws because otherwise it will be very difficult for intellectual properties to be held in a manner that they don't get misused.
According to the US Copyright Office and the European Union's copyright legislation, a work created entirely by AI is not eligible for copyright protection. Such works will be considered a part of the public domain. There also the risk of losing the human touch. A song is more than just a sequence of notes. It's an expression of pain, joy, and lived experience. When we let an algorithm take the lead, we risk losing the raw, deeply human element.
AI cannot replicate emotions or the feelings, the way I put my percussive art in the tracks, the way I do it. There's an expression to it. That expression cannot be copied by AI.
And this brings us back to the biggest musical stage, the Grammys. The Recording Academy has already made a clear statement. Music with AI elements is illegible, but there must be meaningful human authorship. In other words, a human artist has to be the primary creative force behind the work. A completely AI-generated song from start to finish will not be nominated.
I do believe that there needs to be a special category or special categories for AI music, but it should not be mixed with the human categories. I've seen, art directors, people who make, pieces of graphic art and things like that, where they are, or even filmmakers who are creating pieces of content using AI. And I think the more creative they get with the prompts, or the more wiser they get with how to create these prompts, and I guess that itself requires a lot of creativity and a lot of patience. So I think that could be a category in itself.
What makes music music? It is the perfect algorithm, or is it the human spirit? On one hand, we have the endless creative possibilities of AI, a tool that can help artists reach new heights. On the other, we have the human heart, the very thing that gave us the soul-stirring harmonies of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. The question is no longer if AI will be a part of music, but what role do we, as listeners and creators, play in writing the next chapter of music history?
So there you have it. If nothing else, we want you to think about how you're integrating your work and AI. Now, it's becoming clear that people who use it for convenience are likely to render themselves redundant. The AI-human collaboration should lead to new human achievements, not free us up to do nothing. And that leads us to a fundamental question. What holds us back from achieving our potential? Is it fear or failure, or is it laziness? I'm going to leave you with that thought. Have a great week, and don't forget to watch WION on YouTube and follow us on social media. This is Nikita Singh signing out. Bye-bye.